Hey guys, welcome to your first Math with Max, and in my hands I have my actual Max. So here he is. He doesn't really want to be up here with me, but he is, and he's scratching me really badly with his foot. Right, Max. Okay, so I think he's ready to get down, but I just wanted to show him to you, and he is real, and he's real cuddly. Right now, not so much, but he does love me, I promise. Right, Papa? He's so serious, right? Okay. So this is Math with Max. He may not be actually doing the math, but he's here with me. Love you. Alright, so first things first, this video is meant to help you and guide you through the worksheet that you have with you, which is going to be this one right here. Okay? Make sure that you put your name on it first. Okay, so take a moment to put your name on it. And then also notice that the due date here says 9/9/16. Okay, that is next Friday, so I really don't want to hear excuses about how you didn't know that it was due next Friday, but it is because it is clearly written on your paper for you. Okay, and a couple reminders about these videos, guys. You are going to be at the computer. You should have headphones on. This is not a play center for you to, play around with your friends and be silly. And also, I'm sitting right near you, so you should be behaving yourself pretty well also. But if I'm helping you and helping you get answers, I expect you to be on your best behavior, okay? So, again, make sure you have the headphones on and that you're not messing around. So as soon as I give you, I'm only going to do 3 questions with you. There's 9 questions, 5 on the front and 4 on the back. Again, I'm only going to do 3 with you. So once I give you those 3, you need to get off the computer and you can go and finish the rest of them. There's still time in that center. Also, you need to be showing all your work on here. I've provided space next to each question so that you do show your work. That's why I've divided up the space and only put the work on half the side. So the other half is for you to write on. Okay. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Also, I wanted to tell you that if you're ready, if I'm going too fast, because I have a tendency to do that, I know, you can pause the video and go back and you can mess around with it as long as it is helpful to you. Okay. So the first question I am concerned about is number 2, where it says Casimir wrote 0 and 539 thousandths in expanded notation as shown here. So remember, an expanded notation in our journal was when you had the parentheses and you're multiplying times the fraction for the tenths, hundredths, and the thousandths place. So I wrote down the definition here for expanded notation. So expanded notation is the separating, when you separate the value using parentheses and multiplication. So for example, 3/10 would be represented as 3 times 1 over 10, and 5/100 would be represented as 5 times 1 over 100. So this number would be 3,500. So 0 and 3,500 would be your number here. Okay. Just wanted to remind you of what expanded notation looks like. Okay. So the first thing you need to do is put this number into a place value chart like so. Okay, so here's your place value chart. On this side you have your 1, 10th, 100th, and thousands. And we're going to go ahead and put in that number that they gave us, which was the 0 and 539 thousandths. So I'm going to just take a moment to write that in. 0 and 539 thousandths. Okay, that marker on my finger. Just like that. 0 and 539 thousandths. Can you see all that? Good. Okay. So clearly, I believe they're asking for the number 5. The 5 is sitting in what room of the house? That would be the 10th place here. Okay? It is worth 5/10. So going to the question, it says, which shows another way to express the value of the 5 in 0 and 539 thousandths. Okay? Let's think about our answer choice. They said 50, 5/10, 5,000, and 500. Okay? Some of you might be tempted to answer 50. Okay, as if you were to, I don't know, turn this into a 0 and a 0. Oh, sorry, a 0 and a 0, but that's not the case. The 5 is clearly sitting in the 10th place, which means that its value is equal to 5/10. So on number 2, which is on this side, our answer would be 5 tenths, okay? And I do want to see this work, guys, on the side next to it. There's no reason why you shouldn't have work on every question here. Okay. Moving on, we're going to go to number, the fourth one down. It doesn't have a number on it, got cut off, but it's this one right here. So I'm going to read it to you. Says Mr. Ortiz bought 3 large pumpkins. The first weighed 28 and 45 hundredths, and the second weighed 28 and 6 tenths pounds. The third weighed 28 and 5 tenths, which shows a correct comparison of the weights of the first and the third pumpkins, okay? So the first thing you need to go through here is circle the first and the third pumpkins, because those are the only pumpkins that they are asking for at this moment. So when you make your T-chart, you can fill in the first and the third pumpkin that they're asking for. So if you look at the question, it says the first weighed 28 and 45 hundredths. So that should be the first thing that you have in your T-chart. Again, if you need to pause the video, please do so. Don't feel like you have to rush through it. Okay? Then it's asking you to compare that weight to the third pumpkin. And the third pumpkin is going to weigh 28 and 28, I did a 5, 28 and 5 tenths. Okay? So that should be how it looks to you now. Okay, if you want to put a 0 there, that's fine. It won't make a difference at this point, but if it makes you feel better, you can put a 0 there. Okay, so remember, we want to start on the left side here, and we want to compare. So we have 2 and 2. So we know that those are not going to matter to us because they're the same. Okay. Next we have 8 and 8. Again, those are the same, so those don't matter. But now we get over to the 10th place and we get a 4 and a 5. And we're going to see that the 5 is greater than the 4. So that means that 28 and 5 tenths is worth more than 28 and 45 hundredths. Do you see that? So when you go to your answer choices, you want to find the answer that shows that 28 and 5 tenths is greater than 28 and 45 hundredths. Okay, and I'm going to let you do that on your own. So just make sure that your symbol is facing the correct way on this one right here. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and move over to the back and the back of your paper on number 2. Now the reason I chose this question right here is because you're going to see one of these on your STAR test, so I just want to make sure that you're prepared for that and bubbling in correctly. So let's make sure that we fill it in correctly when we do answer it. Okay, I'm going to read the question to you. It says the weight of Mr. Lyon's safe is exactly 98 and 155,000. So I went ahead and already wrote that down for you. Again, on a T-chart, because that's a place value chart, because that is your strategy when we're comparing, ordering, rounding decimals. Then it says, what is the weight of the safe rounded to the nearest tenth? So first we have to know our place value, tenths, hundredths, thousands. And if I'm rounding to the 10th place, that means I want to underline the digit that is in the 10th place. So in this case, that would be the 1. So first things first, I'm going to underline the 1. Just like that. Then my next step is to circle the number next door, which would be my 5. Okay. Now I need to remember my rule for rounding, and our rule for rounding was 5 or more. Raise the score. 4 or less. Let it rest. And yes, I do want to see this written as part of your work because I want to make sure that we get used to writing that as part of a strategy. So you do need to include that somewhere. Okay. Now, 5 or more means I get to give 1 more, raise the score, and it's going to give it 1 more. So I'm going to add 1 more to the 1. And then everything else behind can knock off. We don't need anything more. Okay. So 98 and 155,000 is going to become 98. I'm going to give the 1 more. 98 and 2 tenths. That's going to be our answer for that one. Okay. So those are the only three that I'm going to do with you. You still have 6 more to go, so I do expect those to be done again. Remember, this is due next Friday. That is a week to get this turned in. So there really should be zero excuses on why you could not, because I feel like that is plenty. Unless something terrible happens in your life, I would need a note from mom and dad anyway. But make sure that this gets done, guys. There's really no excuses for it. So again, if you want to pause it and go back because I explained too quickly and you didn't get to write it down, that's perfectly fine. Let's just make sure that this gets done, okay? So I hope you enjoyed your first Math with Max video, and there's going to be plenty to come. Okay, so have a great day, guys.